Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Late Night Racing. Things are really starting to hot up now in the championship. Just 2 rounds remaining and only 3 points separating the top 2 at this moment. 3 points separating the top 3 even at this moment in time. It is so close at the top of the order at the moment. Last time around, you weren't with us for the Mexico Grand Prix. It was a fantastic race. So much action. So many different overtakes happening that just made things a bit interesting, as we said, in that championship title. Paulie Orange taking the victory on penalties in the end from Blaze, and Aylan finishing just ahead of Jonathan Cox. That means that Paulie Orange is leading the championship by the virtue of having more second places than Jonathan Cox. Aylan just 3 points behind. Brazil, double point finale next week, but for now it is the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and for now we are on board then with Etheridge as he heads his way around the first few corners now, just taking it nice and careful around this track. You need to be flat out over this first sector of the lap, an extremely short first sector as you head down into the braking zone of 5 and 6 for hairpin then at turn 7, very tight indeed, where Charles Leclerc and Alex Albon had their battle in at 2 in 2017, and then towards the first DRS straight, and one of the best opportunities on this track, down this long back straight, reaching speeds in excess of over 200 miles per hour, 206 as he heads into the braking zone for turns 8 and 9, just carrying a bit too much speed in there, costing him ever so slightly. Out now, coming through the flat out left-hander at turn 10, past the paddock grandstand for the F2 cars, and then we now head into this little triple chicane almost of 11, 12 and then 13 straight after. Now it's all about 90-degree corners of being nice and careful for the end of the lap through this final sector there as he comes through turn 14. You're flat out through 15, just braking after the apex of 16. Be very careful that you don't carry too much speed into there. 17 and 18 following on the 19, this left-hander where you want to run it as close to the wall as you possibly can. Heading around the final couple of corners now. Be very careful around turn 20. It's very easy to carry too much speed, as it is through turn 21, and it is Paulie Orange on pole position, getting an outright lead of the championship then, and it is an if he manages to finish the race. Jonathan Cox's rival not too far behind either, and Denge still mathematically in the championship for now. He is 58 points behind. If he's within 60 by the end of the evening, he will still be in the championship battle, but it's Paulie Orange on pole, Blaze second, Total P's ahead of his championship challenging teammate Jonathan Cox, and Denge in 5th, Aylan 6th, Noble is 7th, Lost Souls 8th, Immortal on a set of the medium tyres. He will be starting on them in 9th. Envoy Extreme is 10th on his debut. Treminator, the last car to set a time, in 11th, and Fatality, Cruxy, Farhad, Energetic 6 and KRC rounding out the grid. So we are expecting some fun in this race. We are expecting so much. We're expecting so much to be going on, really. As we said, the championship really close. Constructors is settled, but that victory from Paulie Orange last time around means he is now in the lead in the championship. 4 points for pole position, 1 point for the fastest lap, no matter where you finish in the race, as long as you finish in the race for both of them points. Otherwise, it is exactly the same as Formula 1, and with a double points and exclusively a 100% race next time around at Brazil. So we will be starting it slightly earlier next week. We'll be starting at 9 p.m. rather than 22:10 UK time. 60 points then up for offer next week, meaning mathematically no one can win it tonight. It will go on to the final round. Orange, Jonathan Cox and Aylan are guaranteed to be there. If Denge manages to finish ahead of all 3 of them, he is also guaranteed to have a shot at the championship as well. It's nice conditions for now in Abu Dhabi, as you would expect it to be. We always expect it to be good conditions. Jonathan Cox saying he's feeling pretty tense at the moment, just behind his teammate. We did ask last week, there'd be a bit of teamwork, and we're not quite sure. He wasn't quite sure, let's put it that way, that there would be some teamwork between them. Hello to Rotation, who is watching. He'll be there for the finale at Brazil, and the 71-lap finale around Brazil just sounds like it will be something special. But for now, though, we've got 28 laps around this Yas Marina circuit, first used in 2009. Those are the tyres everyone is on. We knew that Immortal would be the only one in the top 10 on the mediums, and Energetic 6, the only one outside the top 10 on the soft tyres. Now, you do quite often see a two-stop strategy around this circuit. The mediums aren't exactly the most fantastic tyre around here, if we're being truthful. So we might be seeing some medium soft strategies. It'll be interesting to see if anyone does go for the one stop. If we see the hard tyres and overtaking, despite the 2 DRS zones, not the easiest at all. That hairpin that we're just seeing KRC go through now, that hairpin, very tricky indeed to get a good exit out of that hairpin and get a good run down the straight then into the chicane at 8 and 9. And if you do manage to overtake in there, the car that you've passed has a great chance to get it moved on all the way along, coming through turn 10, this second DRS zone that our pole sitter is now going through. Another pole position then for Paulie Orange. She's definitely, outright pace-wise, you'd say he's faster of the two Haas drivers. But Alan is still in there in the championship, obviously only 3 points behind. And this is the chicane where I think you'll see the most overtaking, 10, 11 and 12. And if you pass someone into the first chicane, they've got a chance to take you back there. And it can be very frustrating indeed. We'll see what Immortal can do on a set of the medium tyres. Not fair to say he's not had the best championship. Only scored 1 point so far this season, but might be in a very handy position indeed at the moment to get himself further up the order. KRC currently finds himself 5th in the championship. He is also still mathematically in this championship hunt. However, he would need to... Well, no, sorry, he's actually now out of the championship hunt because Paulie Orange got pole position. He was still in it at the start of the night, but he did need to get pole win and fastest lap in the remaining 2 races. Hope that Orange and Jonathan Cox didn't score in any of them, and hope that Alan only scored 1 or 2 points across the final few races. So that is not happening. We are officially down to 4 cars, and it's most likely going to be a 3-car race for the title. Our championship leader finds himself in first place. As it stands, he will be 4 points ahead of Jonathan Cox. He's in 4th, and Alan in 6th, directly behind the AlphaTauri car. Get ready for what is going to be 28 fascinating laps around the Yas Marina circuit. The 5 lights are on, and we are underway. What are the starts like then? It seems like a fairly good start then from Total Peace. Has actually had a cracking start to get himself down the inside of Paulie Orange and into the lead of this race. So Total Peace with a fantastic start. That's compromised Orange ever so slightly. Blaze now trying to go all the way around the outside in the McLaren, who was on second on the grid. He now gets himself up into second place. So our championship leader using 2 places on the run down to turn 1, getting a bit of a slide on as well, and Andenge nearly having a go. Jonathan Cox has dropped behind the Williams, and he's now got Alan all over the back of him. Envoy has dropped to the back of the field and has some front wing damage, so he will be coming into the pits on this lap. Well, everyone is still in the race, and it is Total Peace with a bit of an aggressive move into turn 1. He definitely had the inside line, definitely made it work with an absolutely brilliant start. I was going to say, it's one of the shortest runs to turn 1 on the calendar, so you don't normally see drivers lose a lot of positions, but Paulie Orange down 2 places on lap 1 so far. We'll just have a look then at the position changes at this moment in time, and there you see the predicted pit stop strategies. You can see some of the gainers so far. Envoy losing 6 places, Cruxy and Farhad both up 3, Total Peace up 2 at this moment in time, but still very early days, still a lot could happen. Total Peace wanting to recover after the Mexican race, wanting to recover after a fantastic start to the season where he looked as though he was going to run away from this championship, wasn't able to attend a lot of races for different reasons, has changed from the Mercedes, he's now in the AlphaTauri. Will we see him take a win here and really stir things up in the championship battle, get himself involved in it, just make it a bit harder maybe for some of these good drivers to catch up. But there we go, Alan. That is Jonathan Cox. That is just the graphics glitch. I thought Jonathan Cox might have headed into the pits, but he's still in 5th place. He's lost a position on lap 1, and with the way it stands at the moment, this is just going to give Paulie Orange a bit of a gap in the championship. With the double point system, it's probably not going to make too much difference then. And Andenge, he knows that if he can manage to get himself ahead of Paulie Orange in this race, he will still have a mathematical chance. It wouldn't need him to basically take pole, win and fastest lap and the other 3 contenders to retire from the next race. But if you've still got a slim chance, Kimi Räikkönen in 2007, 17 points behind with a possible 20 on the table. You never know what could happen. So the Williams in 4th place at this moment in time. Fatality in 12th in the Ferrari. Farhad is 11th. And Immortal with a bit of a bad start then. To say he was in that magical position, he's actually completely ran out of ERS on this lap. So I'm not quite sure why he was going into overtake mode there. He's dropped from 9th on the grid into 13th on those medium tyres. I wonder if he was one of the drivers that made contact with Envoy, and that is what caused Envoy to have problems. KRC's gone up a couple of positions. Can he manage to work his way up the order then in this race? We know he's a quick driver. We know he's picked up some good results throughout the season, hence why he's still mathematically in this championship battle at this moment in time. He's had a fastest lap. He's had 3 podiums so far this season and taken a victory. Can he maybe sneak his way up the order today? Can Jonathan Cox get his way onto a win? Hasn't had a win since Canada. Had a pretty big lead in the championship of over 40 points at one point, and it's just been steadily whittled away, and he really needs a good performance. Paulie Omin saying Jonathan Cox is good at Brazil, so that double pointer might just suit him. Might be his best chance to take the title. Blaze, though, catching up now to Total P's. DRS is enabled this time around, so the race leader might have to start doing some defending. Paulie Ominger nearly tapping the back of Blaze. We've seen Noble pick up the first 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. You can see it fairly easy happening around this circuit, so maybe, just maybe, there will be a few more penalties as well. What can Total P's do then? Can he hold on to this lead? How much ERS is he going to have to use, maybe, compared to some of those drivers around him? He might just find it a bit tricky at this moment in time to possibly even hold on to this lead. We are seeing some battles though further in the background. Treminator has managed to get his way past Cruxy, but that unique DRS zones of this circuit, he's able to fight back in the second DRS zone and gets himself up into 9th place. Farhad just behind, looked as though he was getting a move. The top 7 are sticking with each other at the moment in time. It's just Noble seems to be struggling a bit further back in 8th place, and then obviously Cruxy on the medium tyres, not with the pace at this point in the race, but may well have it later on, so that could be something to look out for. He has got this train behind him of Treminator, Farhad, Fatality. In fact, it was a fantastic race last time out. Cruxy did a really good job at the last race in Mexico. Penalties ended up dropping him down into 5th position, but actually finished on track ahead of Alan, so could well have had a better race. Will he be able to do that alternate strategy again tonight and get himself into a good position? Everyone still in the race. Envoy deciding that now is the time to come into the pits, just wanting to stretch it a bit longer, and I can kind of see why he's done that. This is going to make a medium, a very straightforward strategy for the reserve in the Alfa Romeo tonight, so he's heading his way down the pit lane at this moment in time. New front wing, hard tyres going on, so he will try to get those towards the end of the race, I imagine, unless we do see any safety cars. Alan all over the back of Jonathan Cox, but with Cox here having the DRS, who I think must have made a big mistake at some point, and he's gone very deep into that chicane. Alan's not had the greatest of exits though, but should still have a really good chance of working his way up the order. Jonathan Cox has got nothing to defend with at this moment in time. Can the Haas go all the way around the outside? He's ahead before we hit the breaking point of 11, and that is Alan up into 5th place. Will he be able to pull away then from the Alpha Tauri driver? Immortal now picking up a 5-second penalty for corner cutting. He lets a few cars by. In fact, he's facing completely the wrong way. Where does that happen? He's off at turn 12, not got any damage. He's hopped over the curb. He is able to continue. Unfortunately, it looks as though it's going to be very difficult for him indeed to hold on to that 1 point at the moment. Energetic 6 round the outside of Treminator. Great move by the Renault driver on those soft tyres, using them to full advantage as he needs to at the moment. Expect to see him climb to the back of Fatality pretty quickly, as KRC now also gets his way ahead of Treminator, who does have front wing damage. I wonder if he's made contact then with Immortal. The Red Bull into the pits. He'll probably be putting on a set of the hard tyres to try and get him towards the end as well, I'd imagine. No, actually, is that another set of the medium tyres then for Treminator. So, of course, forcing himself into a 2-stop strategy. Back in the lead of the race, though. Pease is still ahead of Blaze, with Paulie Orange and Andenge not too far behind. And this might... thought for a second then we were just going to see a move there by Blaze. He gets a good exit now out of this chicane. He's going to have a fantastic chance of taking the lead of this race. He's shown some fantastic pace the last time around. One out on track. If it wasn't for penalties, of course, he'd have taken the win, but Orange beat him, and Total Peace has left that inside line open. He's left the door open here. Blaze straight down the inside, takes the lead of this race then in the McLaren. Started second on the grid, managed to get jumped there by Pease as Noble has left the session. Got his way ahead of Paulie Orange. Now he's ahead of the Alpha Tauri. And can he start pulling away? And this is going to be a chance for Paulie Orange to maybe take advantage. Are we seeing something similar to what we saw in Mexico, where Pease started off well and then just started to struggle a bit with the pace, and Denge hanging with these drivers as well? Just a quick reminder, he does need to finish ahead of Paulie Orange then to stay in the championship fight, and even then that might not be enough. And Orange just picked up a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Top two in the championship, Jonathan Cox just doesn't look to have the pace, and Orange with that penalty could well be a good evening for Andenge and Aylan, but still a long way to go. Still only on lap 6 out of 28 here at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Now that Total Pease is behind Blaze, he's not as close as the McLaren was, and you can see that blue spanner. That suggests to me we are going to see some pit stops from the leaders this time around, getting rid of those soft tyres. Noble has managed to rejoin the session, but he's now dropped, unfortunately for him, down into 11th behind Cruxy, Fatality and Farhad Dan. So they are all up into the points at this moment in time. And Pease couldn't get close enough to Blaze, and Orange has dropped a bit back as well, and Andenge not exactly pressuring him at this moment in time. Jonathan Cox is able to stay with Aylan, and Lost Souls. Has Lost Souls made a mistake somewhere? Because he was right on the back of these two cars earlier, and he seems to have dropped a long way back at this moment in time. Jonathan Cox not able to get past Aylan, just staying in 6th place. And Jonathan Cox does tend to pick up a few penalties. He's kept it clean so far. Orange the one with the penalty. There was penalties that cost him the championship lead at this moment in time. If he'd have had a clean race last time, he'd have finished 3rd and would have gone into this race 3 points ahead in the championship of Paulie Orange, and I think 9 points ahead of Aylan. As it was, he came in tied and just behind the first Haas, 3 points behind 3 points ahead of the one he's behind at the moment, as Aylan comes into the pits. Jonathan Cox with a very late decision there to come into the pits as well. Envoy has got a 5-second time penalty for time corner cut in, so here we go. Aylan and Jonathan Cox coming in on the same lap. I am very surprised that Jonathan decided to go for the same thing. It's going to be soft tyres on his car. It's going to be mediums on Aylan. So watch out for Jonathan Cox, because he's going to be right on the back of that Haas, as Immortal is having a bit of a nightmare of a race, unfortunately, trying to get himself out of that situation. He's down in 14th place. Those medium tyres have not served him well after a pretty decent qualifying session. He's just overheated them. He's in the wall. Needs to be careful. He doesn't end up retiring from the race here. Will surely be heading into the pits, but those Pirellis, once they've started cooking, are very difficult indeed. Lost Souls has dropped back behind Farhad then. In fact, I'm not sure if Lost Souls is still in the session, because he just seems to be losing a lot of time all of a sudden. So hopefully, if he is out of the session, he's able to reconnect pretty quickly, because he does seem to be losing a lot of time compared to some of the others. Total Pease has got himself a penalty. Something's happened there. Just caught the tail end of that. Something has happened between Cruxy and Farhad there. Don't think there's any major damage on that Mercedes. I think there might have been a slight tap on the back there. Cruxy looking as though he was having to move over to get ahead. And there we go. Jonathan Cox has managed to get his way past Aylan then, using those soft tyres straight out of the pits. He will have to go onto the mediums next time around, but he's deciding, right, I want to fly on these soft tyres. I want to try and break away and then just see if I can defend later, when some of my rivals will either be on fresher mediums or maybe another set of softs as well. That is Jonathan Cox up into 12th place as Paulie Orange and Andenge come into their pits. Blaze still ahead then from Total Pease at this moment in time, and it's now Cruxy, their first driver on those mediums, doing that alternate strategy once again in 3rd position. Now, has that undercut worked for Jonathan Cox? He was a long way behind Andenge and Paulie Orange. Has he been able to close that gap up any at all and maybe overtake? There's your answer. He is a lot closer. Andenge also going for the soft tyres. So out of the ones that have pitted off the softs from the start of the race, the leaders, it's only really the Haas cars that have gone for those mediums. We are now seeing Lost Souls and Noble also appearing like they've gone for the medium tyres, as Farhad works his way round the outside into turn 8 on Cruxy. He is then up a position, and Andenge uses his soft tyres, needs to try and get his way past Paulie Orange. He's going for it straight away here into turn 8. Down the inside goes the Williams driver. Paulie Orange not really wanting to give up that position, and that might have just cost him a bit more time because Andenge is in with DRS again. We've had a host migration, and Denger's now left the session. Plenty of drivers seem to be struggling at this moment in time with connections. That is such a shame for Andenge that he's kicked him out of the session. He was looking so good there, and he is now out of the session, and surely he is out of the championship. Jonathan Cox will be trying to get his way past Andenge as well, and will now just be a sitting duck. Lost Souls is out as well. So both of them out of the session. Elon getting ahead of Andenge as well. This is such a shame for the pair of them. And I am going to see, as Blaze and Total Peace come in, I'm going to invite these two into the session and just give myself a very short break. Be back in a moment. Oh, Andenge is actually back into the session. We'll see if hopefully he might be able to get Lost Souls in as well. I think his connection's gone a bit too much, but we'll try and get Lost Souls back in and then be back with the race action. Blaze then and Paulie Orange are coming side by side. We don't really want to cut away from this piece of action. Can Blaze is completely butchered the track limits there. Him and Paulie Orange giving each other no quarter whatsoever at this moment in time. Which one of them was behind at the DRS detection point? Blaze was behind then, so Paulie Orange is going to get a slightly better exit. That DRS is going to open on the McLaren, and it's going to make no difference whatsoever. Blaze is up into 5th, Orange in 6th. Pease now, he's going to have a go round the outside of the Haas car. Can it go all the way round? There was a bit of needle between these two, with Orange suggesting that Total Peace had crashed out on purpose at the last race, and I don't think Peace took too kindly to that, so he'll be wanting to get ahead of the Haas now. He should have the tyre grip. They're both low on ERS, they're both using the DRS. Is he just going to find that door close though, with the McLaren being there? And that is Pease down into 7th. He's got his teammate not too far behind, so will we see some sort of team orders going on between these cars? We'll have to find out shortly. See, Jonathan Cox already looking like he's starting to drop back from some of these guys. Alan in 9th at the moment. We'll see who's pitted at this moment in time. So, top 4 drivers yet to come into the pits, all having started on the mediums, obviously. And I think most of them will be coming into the pits again as Blaze now round the outside at turn 5. Makes a bit of contact with KRC, who they're still fighting for position, so he's entitled to do that. I don't think KRC will be too happy about that, and I don't think Andenge will be too happy that KRC appeared to let quite a few cars by there, and not every single one of them. So that is another position change. Andenge is now up into 9th position. It's all getting very tasty all of a sudden here. Things starting to look exciting. Oh! Jonathan Cox is out of the race! What on earth has happened? Our former championship leader is out of the race. Absolute carnage here. Absolute carnage at this Grand Prix. What on earth has happened there? He's had a big accident on the exit of the corner, and that could well be his championship chances out of the window. Jonathan Cox is out of this race, and that is terrible news for him. I didn't quite see what caused that. KRC was facing in the wrong direction, but those two would not have been together. Alan was the closest to him. Noble's got a drive-through penalty for speeding under the virtual safety car, so we are back to green flag action. It is all kicking off around this circuit, and with the net top 3 having penalties, is it going to be a chance for Alan? Is this going to be his night to take the championship lead going into the final race? And we have got a big talking point all of a sudden in this championship. The man who came into tonight second in the championship, tied on points with Paulie Orange, the race leader, will not be scoring any whatsoever. And it looks like Orange and Alan, the two Haas cars, are going to be strong favourites going into the final race of the season. Blaze gets his way ahead of Fatality. Paulie Orange might just find this a bit difficult now. He's in this DRS train. He'll have a lot more grip than Fatality ahead, but you can just see, without any ERS, with the Ferrari having the DRS as well, they're just staying ahead. And it was just, by the sounds of it, just a driver error, unfortunately, from Jonathan Cox on the exit of the corner that's cost him the chance of points in this race. We'll have to see. He will still be in the championship battle, of course, next time around, but might need a bit of misfortune now from the two Hassers. Could still get it this time around with Paulie Orange in second, Aylan in a net 4th place then at this moment in time, and Paulie Orange trying to flirt his way past Fatality. The Ferrari giving him, well, Ferrari well entitled to stay behind. I don't know if Paulie Orange, is he going to be brave enough to send one down the inside here into turn 16? Not this time around. Taps Fatality on the back. Blaze takes the lead of this race. And Denge did say last time, be a bit careful when you're having the championship contenders coming near you, which I think the drivers unfortunately took as a bit of a sign of, I'm going to get completely out of the way of the championship contenders. I think Orange might just be wishing now that that was still the message that they were thinking of, because Total Peace has really closed up to the back of him. Peace on the soft tyres needs to work his way past. Orange could maybe afford to be held up ever so slightly more at this moment. He is struggling on this ERS. You've got all sorts of battling going on at the moment. Are we going to see a move down the inside here into the chicane by Paulie Orange, who gets himself another time penalty, and Total Peace has thrown one up the inside there. Oh, Orange is around. Our pole sitter is around. Somehow he's managed to hold on to that car. He's got a 5-second penalty for corner cutting. There's going to be quite a few talking points for the stewards, and he will have to serve that in the pit, so he won't be able to remove that. I think that all started from Orange hopping over the curb, trying to avoid Fatality. Peace thought he saw a gap. Peace has now gone into the back of Cruxy. And the next thing we know, Paulie Orange is facing the wrong way. Aylan up into 5th. He's looking very good all of a sudden. And Denge is in 7th on the soft tyres. He doesn't have a penalty either. Could he get a podium? Could he still be a contender in the championship at the end of the evening? Peace now has got his way past Cruxy. They are finding it a bit difficult to get past that Ferrari of Fatality at the moment, who I think will be seeing some of these medium runners coming in this lap or next lap, and they'll either be going for hards or 2 sets of softs towards the end of the race. Envoy and Immortal did go for the hards. They're currently marooned in 14th and 15th place. So much is happening in this race. This could be a tasty podium interview at the end. You are not going to want to miss, depending on who ends up on the podium. Farhad into the pit centre. That promotes Total Peace up into second. Cruxy coming in as well. So the top 5 drivers, for everyone now who was still on the mediums, Farhad, Cruxy and Fatality, are coming into the pit. So we're going to get a more normal order now after this first stop. Orange very lucky to avoid any damage from that spin. A bit harsh with the corner cutting penalties. He was just trying to recover on track. That means he does now have, though, 11 seconds of penalties. He'll get 5 of those removed in the pits, which means he won't be able to get them removed by the stewards. Whether we'll see any reports of something in the stewards, but this is interesting indeed. Farhad coming out on the hard tyres then in 7th place, just ahead of Cruxy, who's decided to go soft to the end of this race. So we are now going to see a perfect demonstration of which strategy is better. Is it the 1 stop or is it the 2 stop? Because Cruxy, you'd imagine, is going to sail past that Mercedes down this straight then and just pull away. Then will he be able to pull away a big enough gap? Cruxy there, just going straight round the outside with the DRS. This is going to be one of the easiest overtakes you are ever going to see around this circuit. He is up into 7th place, and Denge now pulling one overtake on Aylan. He's starting to have some fun on those soft tyres, doing what he needs to. He's now up into 3rd place, and with penalties for those ahead, that could well be 2nd. Aylan and Paulie Orange will be on the softs later, I'd imagine, so watch out for them to be extremely quick. Very intriguing race at the moment. Who said the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix could possibly be a bit of a dull race? We've got all sorts of action going on here. Only on lap 13 out of 28, just starting lap 14, so 15 remaining, and Blaze looking good at the moment, showing some good pace, 4.7 ahead of Total Peace, who is 2.6 ahead of Andenge, whilst the Hassers of Aylan and Paulie Orange starting to breathe down his neck. Now we are probably approaching the crossover point as Noble picks up another penalty. I'd say we're not too far away then from this crossover point where those medium tyres are going to be better than the soft tyres. So we might start seeing Aylan and Paulie Orange catch up. Will these two still be working together? They know their main championship rival is out of this race. They've already won the Constructors by a convincing margin. And with Orange's penalties, I can't see Aylan being in a mood to let his teammate by at this moment in time, because he's probably going to finish ahead of him anyway at the end of the race when you count the penalties. Whether anything will change with the stewards, we didn't see what caused Orange to spin. We saw him get a bit of a tap from Total Peas on the way into the chicane, but didn't see what caused it on the way out. Whether there was another tap from Peas or another car, we'll have to wait to see if Orange is in the post-race interview. But to get a podium at this moment in time, it looks like it is going to be a tricky ask with the pace of those top two drivers at the moment. Far KRC has got ahead of Noble then, so Noble now into 12th place. KRC trying to get as good of exit as possible on those soft tyres. We'll see the rear wing come open then on Noble, who's just hooking in behind at the moment and is not close enough on those mediums. Couldn't get a good enough exit, so he stays in 12th position. Lost Souls up ahead, I think unfortunately is permanently out of the session, so will not be able to get back in. And Orange and Aylan dropping outside of DRS range at the halfway point of this race then. He's just dropping back behind Andenge. Now we might see Paulie Orange feel like he's got to go for a move. If he is leading the championship, he has got them 4 points for the pole position, which means before the start of this race, officially before the start, he was 7 points ahead. Cruxy managing to get ahead of Energetic 6 then, using those soft tyres, and you can already see the gap. He's pulling away on Farhad. Energetic 6 doing a good job at the moment. Started on a set of softs, he's gone to another set, so it'll be mediums at the end. This different strategy could well get him some points. But, as I was saying, Paulie Orange are basically 7 points ahead at the moment of Aylan. When you count for his penalties and the fact that he's behind Aylan, you could possibly say, as things stands, 5 points between them going into the final race. That means if any one of them wins, they would win the title, as they're going to swap around here. Aylan not really bothering to defend, knowing that with those penalties, he doesn't really have to defend for his teammate at this moment in time. That is Orange in 4th place. Now, the only way this could cost Aylan is now that he's the car behind, he might not get the say on the first pit stop, despite having a lap older tyres. So, is he going to have to come in a bit early to try and do the undercut, as Orange has had a big tank slapper there? Coming through 16 and 17. Very lucky indeed to hold on to that car coming out of turn 17. That could have been cost. That could have been another championship contender headed towards the barrier. I'm not sure whether it would have been high enough speed to retire, but definitely would have knocked off enough of the front wing to force him to come into the pits. Thankfully for him, he is able to continue. But as I was saying, Aylan, he can't come into the pits for the same lap as Paulie Orange. We know the double stack doesn't work. He would lose so much time as well, because Orange has that 5-second penalty to serve. So he's got to either stay out a lap longer or come in a lap earlier. And at the moment, it doesn't look like he's got a lot of pace compared to his teammate. Energetic 6 is in then for his second stop. First driver to do 2 scheduled stops. Yellow and black tyres going on the yellow and black Renault. Energetic 6 will come out and onto circuit in 12th position at this moment in time. Expect him to move up though, as we do see a few more pit stops later in the race, of course. Aylan still then trying to keep up with his teammate at the moment. He's now outside of DRS range. That is crucial. And Denge as well. He's doing a very good job. He's not been on the podium for a while. As things stand, he would still actually be in the championship battle. Going into next week, he's, again, still going to need a bit of a miracle, but he would still have a chance of taking the championship. Very slim indeed, but he'll be very proud with how he's done this season. Got some podiums, picked up a win on occasion as well. Could pick up more as well. If he could stay in contact with Total Peas, could get himself a second place. And if something happens to Blaze, could well end up picking up a win. But Blaze is looking, well, Blaze is looking on fire at this moment in time. 12 laps to go. He's got a 6-second lead at this moment in Total Peas. The reserve driver doing a fantastic job. This could also have a say in the championship at the next race, with 50 points on the line for whoever takes the checkered flag first in Brazil. That's going to be a big chunk of points for double. The gap, of course, with the double points next time will be 14 points between first and second. But if Blaze is in first place, it's going to be a bit harder for whoever's not leading the championship, and for Jonathan Cox, of course, to take that title next time around. He'll be definitely still be in the championship battle, Will Coxey. It's not all over yet. He's just hoping that these top 3 can stay away from Orange and Aylan, and maybe, just maybe, a few of the other cars getting their way involved as well. The tension, cut the tension with a knife at this moment in time. I imagine there's a few drivers feeling pretty nervous at this moment in time. Nervous energy everywhere. And now those medium tyres look to be coming into their own. Paulie Orange getting close. just getting close to within Wheeling and Denge, within DRS range at the moment. Now those top three are going to have to be on the medium tyres at the end of this race. I imagine the two Hassers are going to be on the soft tyres at this moment in time. But with Orange's penalties and with Alan, with all due respect, just not looking to have the pace of his teammate at the moment. That gap now stretching out to 2 seconds. Not sure they're going to be a factor in the race victory at this moment. With the pace Blaze is showing, I'm not sure anyone but him is going to be a factor in this race victory. Keep it nice and clean on the way into the pit lane. He does indeed. Fatality picks up a penalty there. Into the pits then for the final time comes our top 3 drivers. Mediums on then for Blazer's car. Gets himself out long before Total Peace is coming down the pit lane. We've also got Alan coming in as well. That is a very early pit stop then off those medium tyres. He's not enjoying those whatsoever, and he's not going to be able to go a long way on the soft, so he's had to go for another set of mediums. Another twist in the tail here. Alan thinking that he's not confident on those mediums. He wants a fresh set now and has to go towards the end of them, whereas our new race leader, Paulie Orange, he could just stretch out another lap or two. He'll be able to go on the soft tyres. He'll be lightning fast, and those penalties might not yet be quite as costly as they seem at this moment in time. Lap 18 out of 28. Go through who's still yet to pit again. Paulie Orange and Cruxy will have to come into the pits once more. Farhad and Fatality on the hards, so they won't. KRC, Noble, Lost Souls and Treminator will also have to come into the pits once more. Envoy Extreme, he came into the pits a few laps ago. He put a set of the medium tyres on. 14th place on his debut, still going around. And if we see some safety cars, you never know whether that could still be a very good position to be in. On board then with our 3rd place man, Cruxy, on a set of soft tyres, sort of in the middle of this lead group at the moment. 5th place, 6th place I should say, looks like it might be the best he can do. He's going to be on a set of softs, I imagine, at the end of this race. And are we now going to see our race leader coming to the pits? We'll just stay on board with Orange as he comes around the final corner now. So he's definitely going for a few more laps. He's definitely going for a set of the soft tyres later on. There is that bonus point for the fastest lap, which is currently being held by Jonathan Cox. So unless we see that beaten by someone, which I think we will after the pit stops, after someone does put a set of softs on, if Jonathan Cox still ends up holding it, then there will be no points going for the fastest lap, which might be good news for the retired AlphaTauri driver. Energetic 6 has worked his way past Noble then, so he's backed up into the points after his final pit stop. Started outside the top 10, he's already in the top 10, and with some of those ahead of him still having to pit, and some of those ahead of him being on the hard tyres, we'll see how high he can get at the moment. The Renault driver in Energetic 6, 11th in the championship at the moment, so might still have a chance of the top 10 if he can have a really good double pointer next time around with Noble and the AI car of Lost Souls now coming into the pit. And Denge is 5th, Alan is 6th, just ahead of them is Total Peace, and he now sails past the inside of Cruxy. He is up into 3rd place, got enough grip on those fresh medium tyres, just setting now. It's basically a time trial for all these drivers in the top 3. Blaze, Total Peace and Paulie Orange, I think, are going to be driving around on their own later in this race with 10 laps to go. They've all got differing penalties though at this moment in time. 5 seconds of Paulie Orange's will be served in the pits, so he'll come out with 6 seconds. It's just, will he come out ahead of Andenge and Alan? Because that's what might make it difficult. He should come out ahead of Alan. He comes out behind Andenge though, with those 6 second of penalties to add on as well. Things could just start getting tasty, and Denge could probably do with saving a bit of fuel. You can see that yellow and black fuel light. It gets easier as the race goes on. You're not trying to accelerate, brake, steer that heavier mass of fuel around. About 105 kilos in a full race. Talking 52, 53 kilos therefore in a half race. And Denge now into, well, it's still in 5th place. He's got to do a bit of fuel saving, lifting and coasting, short shifting. Might just be necessary for him, but these guys practice, they make sure that they've got it absolutely spot on. Talking about getting it spot on, we saw another fastest lap last time around. Blaze then 4 seconds behind Paulie Orange at the moment. Fastest lap of the race, 1:36.2. Very good job indeed, as Andenge has there got a 3 second time penalty. That is a straight time penalty, I believe, for corner cutting. You've seen a few of them tonight. A straight penalty for corner cutting. That probably brings Paulie Orange back into the play for a podium all of a sudden. More twists and turns. Aylan, if he can stay in contact with Van Dench, he's got a chance of getting something good about it. The cleanliness, once again, of Aylan, the only driver out of those net top 5, seeing as Crooksy still has to come into the pits, that has not got a penalty at this moment in time. And we'll go through the penalty situation now. See, 12 seconds for Noble and Envoy, 6 for Immortal, 6 for Energetic 6, 3 for Fatality and Denge, Peas and Blaze. And that 11 seconds hanging over our race leader, Paulie Orange. Lap 20 out of 28. Will this be the lap he comes into the pits and decides to get on a set of these soft tyres? Here we go. Haas into the pits, nearly breaking his front wing on the way into the pits. Gets it slowed down in time. Another time penalty for Van Denge then. Where is Orange going to come out? He will be behind Aylan. He'll be behind Van Denge as well. He's actually going to be quite a long way down the order here. You're going to see him waiting for a while for those soft tyres to get put onto his car. Is he going to be behind Fatality and Farhad here as well? This is going to be fairly close on the exit. I think he's just going to be ahead of these guys, which is going to be crucial. It is going to be fairly tight though on the exit. And actually saying that, Paulie Orange is going to come out just behind those cars on the hard tyres. He's got much better tyres than them though. In fact, we should see an overtake pretty damn quickly from Paulie Orange, I imagine, in the DRS zone. But he's now in 7th with 6 seconds of tyre penalties straight round the outside. At the hairpin there. That line though is always very awkward. It is such a tight hairpin. Both going to have the... No, in fact, Orange is going to be the only one with the DRS. So there we go. Straightforward move. He's now up into 6th. He's now setting his targets of catching up to some of those further up the road. And on the soft tyres, that should definitely be manageable. 7 and a bit laps to go then. Blaze looking very comfortable in the lead. Total for 2nd and Denge 3rd. And this man in 4th place, keeping it clean. If we see a few more penalties from some of those further up the road, he could well be in a position to take advantage. We'll have to wait and see now how the rest of this race goes. Orange again stuck behind Fatality. This is what cost him earlier on in the race. Is he going to think about a move down the inside here into 17? And he doesn't. He does not go for it. It's always a very risky move when you need a very willing partner ahead of you to go for that overtake. But you can just see him losing so much time to those ahead all the way around the outside at turn 20. Surely not a move that is going to work for Paulie Orange. A very determined move. Just taps the back there of Fatality. Uses his ERS. He'll get a much better exit out the final corner. And he is eventually up into 5th place. But you've got to say, he lost about a half a second probably to those up in front in those early stages. City Facile getting past a few cars here at this circuit. He's now got 10 seconds to find to Aylan and more when you consider the penalties. Even with the soft tyres, that 10 seconds is going to be a big task when you add the penalties and the fact it's 13 seconds to Andenge. Going to be difficult indeed. Will still have a good chance of being in the lead of the championship, almost certainly. In fact, with the fastest lap, he's almost certainly going to get, and the pole position, and however put many points he gets from his finishing position. Noble and Terminator have been into the pits then. Terminator coming out on a fresh set of the soft tyres. In fact, it's another pit stop for Noble. Has he damaged his front wing, or did he accidentally put a set of the medium tyres on? That is interesting indeed. That is a 3rd pit stop then for Noble. He's only done 2 laps on that set of mediums. He's now come in and decided to put a set of softs on. So, going for that fastest lap point. Can't really blame him in 13th. Terminator will have his sights on something similar in 12th. And Crooksy has been in for that final pit stop. He's put the soft tyres on. Now remember, he was battling with Farhad earlier on the hard tyres, and managed to overtake him. He's done an extra pit stop. He's only 2 seconds behind him at the moment. I think it's fair to say soft is a much better strategy at this circuit than going for the hard tyres. They look to be really struggling to do Fatality and Farhad. And you can see actually already Fatality's lost 4 seconds on that lap to Paulie Orange, who does a 1:35.2, closes up to his teammate by 2 seconds at this moment in time. And again, Aylan does not have to battle him. When he catches up to him, he can just let him sail by at this moment. We've had a question from LH44, who is winning the championship. At the moment, it is this man, Paulie Orange. He was 3 points ahead of Aylan going into tonight and tied with Jonathan Cox, who's retired from the race. But we do get 4 points for pole position here, which was Orange's. So he's a net 7 points ahead of Aylan and was tied with Jonathan Cox. So he'll still be leading the championship at the end of tonight. With double points next week, though, it could get very interesting indeed. Crooksy, he now gets ahead of Fatality. Gets ahead of Farhad. He is up into 7th place. And with the penalties, actually, for Paulie Orange, Crooksy's kept it clean at the moment. He could just maybe nick a position from Paulie Orange at the end of this race. This is going to be something to watch out for. I said it'll be a bit more of a rally-style time trial at the end of this race, working out where everyone is finishing with the differing penalties for our top few drivers. And that might be something to keep in mind. Crooksy, though, finding himself in the same position that the Haas was. He is going to be a tad more aggressive, though. Down the inside he goes into 15. He is not finding himself hanging around whatsoever. Gets that move done easily into 17. Crooksy then up into 6th place with 5 laps to go. Here is our race leader, Blaze F21, 8.2 seconds ahead of Total P's. Both on the same amount of penalties at this moment in time. So all he has to do is take it home nice and cleanly, and he will claim a first victory of the season, making up for last week, where he did take the win across the line, but penalties cost him. He's 16th in the championship as it stands. This win tonight could well take him up to 14th. That double pointer next week, he wins that, he could be just outside the top 10 after only doing 3 races. If he turns up for the full season too, he is going to be someone to watch out for, as is Total P's, of course, who despite missing a lot of the races, is currently 7th in the championship, and this result would put him up to 5th place in the championship. Very quick drivers in this field, very quick drivers indeed. Alan in 4th, still on for finishing 3rd because of the penalties for Andenge. That's another penalty then for Noble. He is racking them up at this moment in the race. 15 seconds now. He's not in danger. Not in danger of being disqualified. You need to get to 27, 30 points for that to be a problem, but Noble won't be happy with the amount of penalties he's got. He's well outside the points anyway, and that pretty much maintains he will be finishing way outside the points after making that 3rd pit stop, of course. Orange is flying up to the back of Alan, but it's not going to be enough. He's not going to get 12 seconds gained in the remainder of this race, and if anything, needs to make sure that this person doesn't catch up to him. If Orange picks up a penalty, he may finish behind Crooksy. Likewise, if Crooksy gets a penalty, he'll almost certainly end up finishing behind Orange. So there's a bit of battling going on between these two, and these final 2 points for Orange, if he can just clinch them by making sure he finishes 6 seconds ahead of that racing point, that could be very crucial at the end of the season. Immortal, who looked so good in qualifying, he's a lap down at this moment in time in last place. He's picking up another penalty. Not what he would have wanted at all. Treminator now picking up some very few drivers able to keep it clean, and Noble has managed to get ahead of Treminator, who I think has he had a big moment at the same place where Jonathan Cox lost it, I wonder. That is major front wing damage for the Red Bull drivers, so he will be heading into the pits, getting himself a new front wing, and if he has got a new soft tyres again, just trying everything he can to get that fastest lap point in this race. The field just seems to be spreading out ever so slightly at this moment. No one within DRS range of the car in front. Farhad just gifting it to his teammate Immortal at the moment. I'm sure he wouldn't mind too much if that was the other way around, and that might just help Farhad catch up to the back of Fatality up ahead. Noble into the pits as well, so I wonder if there's been contact between Noble and Treminator. We saw Noble pick up a penalty. We saw Treminator pick up one as well. No, it's just another fresh set of soft tyres there for Noble. He's really committed to this fastest lap. A 4th pit stop, a 3rd in the last 5 or 6 laps from the racing point. He is in 12th. Treminator will still come out in 13th place, and it's good to see that we've not had any pit lane retirements at the moment. Only the one retirement, and that was Jonathan Cox crashing out at turn 9. What a crucial retirement that could be for the championship at this moment in time. Alan in 4th, just doing enough to keep up with Andenge, just doing what he has to. He knows he's safe from his teammate at the moment, who's got a bit of lap traffic ahead of him. Orange will be flying around. He is fastest lap of the race at the moment on that 1:35.2. Noble's done a 1:35.3, and now that he's got a lighter car and a bit more free air, as Crooksy picks up a penalty, that pretty much means certainly that Paulie Orange will be taking the 5th position in this race, and therefore retaining this championship lead. As it stands, Paulie Orange will be 2 points ahead of his teammate Alan going into the final race in this championship. Envoy there picking up another time penalty. So, Blaze, lap 26 out of 28, 8 seconds ahead, did a fantastic job on those soft tyres in that second stint to just pull away from Total Peas, got his way through the traffic a bit quicker than Peas, who was stuck behind Orange for a while. That's when we saw the contact, that's where Orange got a 5-second penalty, and that is why he's now having to push like mad on the soft tyres to just work his way up the order. What could he have done without these penalties, perhaps? Would he have had a chance of winning this race? Did start from pole position. Would not have expected around a track that's not really known for its high-octane overtaking action to very possibly only be finishing 5th on track at the moment, as KRC now picks up a penalty as well. Orange goes on to the penultimate lap of the race. Blaze and Rays already on there, and Denge, his best race for a while. Shame for him that it's not going to be good enough for a podium, and a shame for him therefore that this is going to rule him out of title contention. It is officially only going to be, as things stand, 3 drivers going for it into the double pointer next time around. 60 points available at Brazil, 8 for pole position, 50 for the win, 2 for the fastest lap, and me and Droftas will be covering that at the early time of 9 PM next Saturday. Farhad is just starting to close up ever so slightly to the back of Fatality. Doesn't need to go for him whatsoever at the moment. As long as he keeps it nice and clean, he will jump himself up on this one-stop strategy. Will jump himself up the order, but would like just to, I imagine, just to prove that he can get the move done out on track. Does look as though he's maybe just a tad too far behind at the moment. Noble getting some DRS off Alan here. Alan might inadvertently help his teammate lose the fastest lap at the moment, because Noble is going to be flying around in 12th place, and that will close things in at the moment. That will really make things interesting. Jonathan Cox asking how many points behind you'll be. I'll work it out at the end of the race, because we might see some position changes with penalties. We might see Noble steal a fastest lap as well, even though he has just got himself a time penalty. So things are changing lap by lap by lap, and we are on to the final lap of the race. Blaze in the lead from Total Peas, and Denge third, Alan fourth. There is Noble taking that fastest lap, taking that point off of Paulie Orange. And Denge third, Alan fourth again. 3 drivers have kept it clean in the field. Lost Souls can't really count, he's an AI car. Great job from Alan and a great job from Farhad as well to keep it clean, and they're both going to be rewarded with gaining an extra point in this race, well, an extra position in this race. And for Alan, it is going to be another podium for the Haas driver. 11th of the season, more than anyone else. He's currently tied on 10 with his teammate, and will that consistency be enough for him to take the championship at the final round of the season next time in Brazil? But for Blaze, he's not bothered about a title challenge, he's just bothered about his own race. And what he has proved today is that he's definitely one of the quickest drivers in the field. We knew that after Mexico, where he took pole position, he got the fastest lap, he got the victory on track, but penalties meant he lost out to Paulie Orange in the end and had to settle for second place. But barring any disaster in the final 3 corners, and I can't see there being one, as Peas down, he picks up another time penalty. Don't think that's going to have any bearing on the results whatsoever. It is a first win of the season for the McLaren. Blaze takes the victory across the line. A great second position then for Total Peas, just limiting the damage for his retired teammates ever so slightly. And Denge is going to come across the line in 3rd place, but the Williams will just lose out to this man. Alan takes 3rd place then on penalties. Paulie Orange, after starting on pole position, got himself involved in a bit of a tussle in that midfield pack. He finishes in 5th place. Does still though get them points for pole position. Doesn't lose out too much to his teammates. I think now it is 2 points in the championship between Paulie Orange and Alan. And Jonathan Cox, he now finds himself a further, he's now 14 points off the lead of the championship. So with how close things are at the moment, any one of those top 3 wins the race next time out, they will be the champion. They are still in that situation, assuming that none of them get pole position or fastest lap of course. Cruxy gets driver of the day. Great alternate strategy from him on the medium soft soft, but a first win for Blaze return to the podium for Total Ps. And Alan, 11 out of the 21 races he's been up there so far. And he'll be spraying that champagne knowing he's now just within 2 points of the championship lead. So there are the results then. Blaze on top, Total P second, Alan third, and Denge fourth, Paulie Orange fifth, Cruxy is in sixth, Farhad seventh, Fatality, KRC, Energies at sixth, rounding out the points, and then everyone else was a lap down. Lost Soul, Treminator, Noble will get a point for that fastest lap after 4 pit stops. Envoy Extreme finishing on his debut. Immortal, strategy not playing out, and Jonathan Cox, the only retiree from what was a very interesting race. Well, the start had a lot of action. It sort of tailed off towards the end. That middle stint had plenty of action, and because of that middle stint, Paulie Orange does still retain the championship lead. As I was saying, he is now on 277 points. Alan finds himself on 275, and Jonathan Cox is on 263 at the moment. So 14 points now between our top three. Orange still in the lead, and Alan bumping up to second. Will they work together in the next race, or will we see them work separately? We are now going to try and get some of our... Well, we're going to see how many of our top three we can actually get in. Can we get any of them into the session? It would be great if we could get to hear from some of our top 3 drivers in that race. Fantastic performance from all of them, and I'm sure they'll be absolutely delighted with the way today has gone for them. Every single one of them has something to be happy about. Blaze getting, of course, his first win of the season. Total Ps looked very quick in the first stint, just got a bit held up in traffic, and then in the end, never looked like finishing anywhere else but second position after that happened. And Alan, great job, consistency, proving the day once again. Maybe not have the pace of some of those others inside the top 5 in that race, but he won't care whatsoever. He, of course, has got himself into the top 3 in that race and into the top 2 in the championship all of a sudden. So we're all now waiting. We'll see if we do get any of these drivers joining the party. Let us know what you think of the race. Let us know if you've got any questions as well you'd like us to ask any of the top 3, because there was a lot going on, I think it's fair to say, in that middle stint of the race. So much was happening. There will be some... I imagine there'll be some stewards' inquiries as well at that point in the race. There was quite a bit of things happening on. We saw those on the hard tyres, those that started on the mediums, really did cause some problems. We have, though, got Alan with us, finishing in 3rd place. You're now within 2 points of your teammate in the championship. And, yeah, that middle stint of the race was very interesting indeed, with all you guys that were started on the softs trying to get through the traffic.
Yes. I don't think I had any real issues myself. I was constantly behind what was going on. But it looked like it definitely got messy, that's for sure. Like you say, I think some inquiries are going to be coming in.
Yeah, we will have to wait and see indeed. Again, you've kept it clean, and you've got yourself a podium. You've now got more podiums than anyone else, and with you being so close to your teammate and Jonathan Cox still in there, it's looking pretty likely that whichever one, if every one of you or your teammates score pole position and then finish ahead of the other one, you're going to be in a great slot to win this championship.
Yeah, I'd have to make sure that I can nail qualifying first off in Brazil, get those 8 points. But I believe I said last week, for this race, as long as I kept it clean, I should be alright, and it's turned out that way, so I'm pretty pleased.
Of course, it is a 100% race next time out. We've seen one of them already at Austria. Is there any different preparation you go for them races, or is it just business as usual for yourself?
For me, it's just business as usual. I suppose in terms of what's going to be different is strategies are going to alter slightly, because you can afford to make an extra stop in 100% because you have enough laps to make a stint back, I suppose. And I suppose concentration levels. And obviously Brazil is easy enough to pick up penalties, especially in the turn 1 and 2 and those S's. So if I keep it clean, 100%, hopefully some of the lads pick up like twice the amount they would on the 50.
Yeah, that's a very good point indeed. Penalties could always have a say, and it's Brazil. It can always rain at some point in the race. Well, yeah, congratulations on your podium today, and maybe, just maybe, we'll be speaking to you next time out as a champion.
Oh, let's hope so. Let's hope so. Thank you.
Yeah, we will have to wait and see. It doesn't look like we are going to get any of the other of the top two, or any of the top two drivers with us, unfortunately. And that was a very exciting race indeed. So why not make it longer? Why not have a 100% season finale here at Late Night Racing, starting at 9 PM next time? It is double points. It is Paulie Orange versus Alan versus Jonathan Cox for this inaugural championship. Basically, it's almost certain that whichever one of them ends up winning the race, if one of them does win the race, they're going to have a fantastic shot of becoming the champion. So make sure to check that out. So for myself, Luke Etheridge, thank you so much for watching. Thanks to Alan for joining me. Thanks to everyone who was watching as well. And I'll see you next week for the finale. Good night.